anyone who legitimately claims benefits is a scrounger. Anyone that is excluded from the whole welfare system, somehow or other it's their fault and their responsibility. No more this kind of language. Cannot we, as a society, accept that a real security is to ensure that nobody is homeless, nobody is sleeping on the street, and nobody is one of the great achievements of the Labour movement. But, and this is the but, we have to resolutely oppose what this government is doing. Ever since they got in on May the 7th with the support of 24% of the electorate, they've set their agenda out very clearly. A budget that is a fire sale of public assets, that takes benefits away from children in larger families, that denies poorer children their only opportunity of getting support in university, that lowers the welfare cap, knowing full well that the combination of high rents and a welfare cap is leading to the social cleansing of many people from private rented properties all over central London. And so, when people said, well, you shouldn't vote against the welfare reform bill because the public elected a Tory government, I say this welfare reform bill is a Trojan horse for something much, much worse. This one cuts benefits, this one impoverishes people, this one takes many people out of any level of public support, but behind that lies David Cameron's next idea. Somebody told him that national insurance was a product of working class movements. He learned well. He learned well that the friendly societies developed the idea of national insurance, as did unions. We then got national insurance to protect all of us. He thinks it's a bad idea and we should have individual insurance. I'm sure it worked very well for David Cameron and his friends. But no, we want to live in a society where we all care for each other and everyone cares for everyone else. It's a form called socialism. This austerity process has taken away the life chances of so many. Students leaving university with massive debts, £50,000, £60,000. Students deterred from going to university by the prospect of these fees and debts. And now they're proposing to lift the fee cap altogether. So Oxbridge and others can charge £25,000 a year and more. Then they tell us it's all right, there'll be scholarships to deal with it, like there is in the USA. Yeah, sure, there are scholarships in the USA. Bill Clinton got one and did very well, I understand, as a result of it. You don't hear about the tens of thousands of young Americans who never got a scholarship, never got to go to an Ivy League university. We don't want charity. We don't want that system. We want the idea of universal provision. So instead of cutting corporation tax, which is what this government is proposing to do, put it up a little bit so no student has to pay those exorbitant student fees and end up with those massive debts. Our campaign is about all of that, but it's also about justice and human rights in our society. Today they pick on trade unions through the trade union legislation. Tomorrow it's the European Convention on Human Rights. The day after that it's the Human Rights Act. Bit by bit they chip away at the rights we have won and the justice we hold very dear. We have to stand up for our rights and our justice and recognise the history on which we stand that has brought us those rights. But we also have, and I'll conclude on this point, global issues to deal with. There are more displaced people around the world than have ever been in recorded history. Many of those are victims of war, oppression, environmental degradation and terror. Those people might have survived in refugee camps, in Libya, in Lebanon, those people trying to escape across the Mediterranean, those people trying simply to survive. Today, we saw films of what was happening on the Greek border. We see the militarisation of the situation in Calais. We have to have, instead of a military response to this crisis, a human and humanitarian response. And also have a sense of humility for our invasion of Iraq in 2003. Fundamentally, that's absolutely wrong thing. Those of us that marched against the war in 2003 showed that there were millions of people in this country that did not want us to be a sidekick of US foreign policy, that wanted us instead to be a force for peace and good in the world rather than military interventions all around the world. Our summer of campaigning is at one level about the election of the leader and deputy leader of the Labour Party. It's attracted 600,000 people into that issue, and they're voting. They're voting, I hope, in very large numbers. And they're voting because they want to see a party that can present a coherent, credible, inclusive alternative to what the Tories, not austerity light, a programme that shares wealth, shares expectations, and includes everybody in it. Our campaign has brought together everybody, every community, every faith, every age, lots of diverse outlooks, because above all, it's inclusive. We do not involve in the politics of personal abuse and personal denigration. I leave that to us. Because those people that need a job, those people that need a council house, those people that need security in their lives are not going to get that by politicians living in an ivory tower routinely abusing each other and thinking they're very clever. What this has done has opened up democracy in this country, opened up the opportunity for democratic expression, but above all, it's brought people together in this fantastic atmosphere of yes we can achieve things together, yes we can build a very different society from the meanness, the discrimination and the vast chasm between the richest and the poorest that has developed is getting worse and worse and worse. We know things don't have to be like that. We know together we can be very strong. We know together we can achieve those things, that change, that different world. That's why we're here tonight in Union Chapel. That's why we're in all the other halls all over the country. And that's why, whatever the result on September the 12th, we're going to stay together to campaign for all those issues.